What's up, boys? It's Pete Dallas41 coming back at you with another YouTube video. And today, we're going to be talking about the top 10 greatest NBA trades of all time. First of all, I would like to tell you how I rank these. I rank these based on how much they impacted the league, how much they shocked the world, and etc. Secondly, I am not including signings. So, LeBron James signing with the Lakers, Kevin Durant with the Warriors, those are obviously big moves, but they are not trades. They are signings in free agency. So, without further ado, let's get into this. Number 10, Pau Gasol to the Los Angeles Lakers. The Los Angeles Lakers received Pau Gasol and a second-round pick. The Memphis Grizzlies received Kwame Brown, Javaris Crittenton, Aaron McKie, and draft rights to Marc Gasol and 2 first-round picks. After the Lakers traded Shaquille O'Neal following the 03-04 season, they didn't get back on top until they acquired Pau Gasol from Memphis at the 07-08 mid-season trade deadline. The Lakers went to the NBA Finals in each of the first 3 postseasons Kobe Bryant and Gasol played together, winning back-to-back titles in 08-09 and 09-10. None of the veterans Memphis received were of any value, but they ended up with a gem in Marc Gasol, a former second-round pick playing overseas, and Pau's little brother. Marc became a star for the rebuilt Grizzlies. Number 9, Charles Barkley to the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix Suns received Charles Barkley, and the Philadelphia 76ers received Jeff Hornacek, Tim Perry, and Andrew Lang. Barkley was one of the NBA's most popular stars, but with the 76ers struggling to build a team that could compete with the mighty Chicago Bulls, he wanted a change of scenery. He got it in Phoenix before the 92-93 season. The arrival of Barkley injected a new life in Phoenix, as the Suns won the Western Conference title. Unfortunately, Michael Jordan and the Bulls were waiting for them in the finals. Barkley had a huge series, including a triple-double in a heartbreaking Game 4 loss to Chicago. But the Suns lost in 6 games. Barkley never got back to the finals. Despite solid play from Hornacek, Philly struggled without Barkley. They didn't make the playoffs again until Allen Iverson led them there in 98-99. Number 8, Dominique Wilkins to the Atlanta Hawks. Atlanta Hawks received Dominique Wilkins. The Utah Jazz received John Drew, Freeman Williams, and Cash. The Jazz were struggling financially during the 1982 offseason, but that was still no excuse for making one of the most lopsided trades in NBA history. They had drafted Wilkins, a college-age star at the University of Georgia, 3rd overall in the 82 draft. But Wilkins didn't want to play in Utah, and the Jazz found that they couldn't afford him. The Hawks were more than happy to take their hometown hero off the Jazz's hands. Drew and Williams were proven veterans, but Williams played only 18 games in a Jazz uniform. Drew was solid, and he helped lead the Jazz to their first playoff berth, but he only played 3 seasons in Utah. Meanwhile, Wilkins was one of the most league's exciting scorers in the 1980s. Number 7, Wilt Chamberlain to the Los Angeles Lakers. The LA Lakers received Wilt Chamberlain, and the Philadelphia 76ers received Darrell Imhoff, Jerry Chambers, and Archie Clark. In 1967-68, Chamberlain won his 3rd consecutive MVP award. Head coach Alex Hannum left after the season, and according to general manager Jack Ramsey, Chamberlain originally asked to become the Sixers player coach. But when Chamberlain returned from a trip to the West Coast later that offseason, he had a change of heart. He demanded to be traded out west. Ramsey worked out a deal with the Lakers, bringing back Imhoff, a solid center, a promising young guard in Clark, and Chambers, who was traded to Phoenix in the same offseason. The 32-year-old Chamberlain wasn't as dominant as he was earlier in his career, but he did help LA win a title in 1972. Number 6, Shaquille O'Neal to the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat received Shaquille O'Neal, whilst the Los Angeles Lakers received Caron Butler, Lamar Odom, Brian Grant, and a first-round draft pick. The Lakers had won 3 titles with Shaq leading the way. And when they acquired veteran stars Karl Malone and Gary Payton to play alongside Shaq and Kobe Bryant in 03-04, they seemed destined for a fourth. But the team collapsed in the NBA Finals, losing to the underdog Detroit Pistons in 5 games. Shaq reportedly wasn't getting along with Kobe. Legendary head coach Phil Jackson was leaving, and O'Neal felt that he deserved a raise. Instead, he was traded to Miami for a package of good but not great players. 2 years later, Shaq and Dwayne Wade brought Miami its first title. The Lakers, on the other hand, missed the playoffs the following season. Number 5. Robert Parish to the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics received Robert Parish and a 3rd overall pick in the 1980 draft. Golden State Warriors received the 1st and 13th picks of the 1980 draft. The previous offseason, the Celtics had signed free agent forward ML Carr, and under NBA rules, they had to compensate the Detroit Pistons, so they traded star forward Bob McAdoo for 2 first-round picks from Detroit. When the Pistons went 16-66 in 1979-80, one of those picks became number 1 overall. They traded both picks from Detroit to Golden State for Parish, who became a Hall of Famer. The pick they got from the Warriors was used on Kevin McHale, another future Hall of Famer. Meanwhile, the Warriors drafted Joe Barry Carroll 1st overall. He turned out to be a solid player, but nowhere near Parish or McHale talent-wise. Number 4. Kevin Garnett to the Boston Celtics. This is the only one that's happened in our era. So, the Boston Celtics received Kevin Garnett, and the Minnesota Timberwolves received Al Jefferson, Ryan Gomez, Sebastian Telfair, Gerald Green, Theo Ratliff, and 2 first-round picks. The once proud Celtics had fallen on hard times, going 24-58 in 06-07. Garnett had fallen on hard times too. With a weak supporting cast in Minnesota, he was never on a true contending team. Boston made 2 huge moves that offseason, acquiring Garnett as well as getting Ray Allen from the Seattle Supersonics. Those 2 stars joined Paul Pierce to bring a title to Boston in 07-08, the first for all 3 players. The Timberwolves had received a few offers for Garnett, and they clearly chose the wrong one. Of the players and picks they received, 7 combined, the most ever in a trade for one player, only Jefferson became an impact player. Number 3. Oscar Robertson to the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks received Oscar Robertson. The Cincinnati Royals received Flynn Robinson and Charlie Polk. This trade, made before the 1970-71 season, was a stunner. Robertson had spent a decade as one of the NBA's best all-around player for the Royals, and Cincinnati was the same city in which he was a college-age superstar. There were rumors that Royals coach Bob Cousy didn't like sharing the superstar with a man who had broken many of Cousy's records. The Bucks were more than happy to take the Big O. In its first season in Milwaukee, he teamed up with young big man Lou Alcindor, who changed his name to Kareem AbdulJabbar after the season, to win an NBA title. For the Royals, Robinson was a decent player, while Polk bounced around and had little success in the league. Number 2. Kareem AbdulJabbar to the Los Angeles Lakers. The Los Angeles Lakers received Kareem AbdulJabbar and Walt Wesley. The Milwaukee Bucks received Elmore Smith, Brian Winters, Dave Myers, and Junior Bridgman. The Bucks really had no choice but to trade their superstar center. While he had won a title in Milwaukee and said he liked the fans, the Brooklyn native didn't feel he fit in with the culture of the city. So after the 1974-75 season, he demanded a trade to either New York or Los Angeles. The Bucks did what they could, acquiring quality players in Smith and Winters, and promising youngsters in Myers and Bridgman, though neither panned out. But Abdul-Jabbar was a game-changer in LA. He won 5 titles and 3 MVP awards playing with the Lakers, and finished his career as the NBA's all-time leading scorer. Number 1. Bill Russell to the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics received draft rights to Bill Russell, and the St. Louis Hawks received Egg McCauley and draft rights to Cliff Hagan. Celtics coach Red Auerbach was desperate to get Russell, believing the big man from the University of San Francisco was the missing piece on his Celtics team. but Boston was selecting too low in the 1956 draft to get their man. The Hawks drafted Russell second overall and convinced Auerbach to part with Macaulay, a star and a St. Louis native, and the promising Hagan. In a way, the trade worked for both sides. All three players are Hall of Famers, and the two teams met in the finals 4 of the next 5 seasons. Boston won 4 of those matchups, and Russell was the main reason. He played a big role in helping to launch a dynasty that won an amazing 11 titles in 13 years. Thank you for watching. Is there any trade I missed out? Should I have included signings? Tell me all your thoughts in the comment section below. But for now, this is Dallas41 signing off.